But speaking of continuing forward, we will move on to the summer Hikaru died.
Yeah, he's super dead. Oh, wait.
Is he? Is he?
Wow. We both did the same terrible joke.
Did we?
But did we, though? Maybe?
Well, let's get into it. We are on episode 1 of The Summer Hikaru Died. And it starts January, the year 2020, at Nisayama. A boy is running through the forest, and there is a search party looking for Hikaru. And there is a scene of an ominous red glowing dot. The rain is coming down hard. They should have prepared for solo camping. And the party decides they will retreat for now, and the red glowing dot now turns into an organism of some sort. Cuts to Hikaru looking worse for wear, saying Yoshiki's name, and a scene of what looks to be some sort of weird husk thing inside of his bag that is now on the ground. The organism grows as Yoshiki is running through the forest. He sees a tree that has the figure of a woman, but it's just a tree. And then I have a note that says, I wonder what the fuck that's about. Hopefully they circle back around, because I'm like, that's a weird thing to just put in the
That is a
show.
naked ass woman, dude. Just right there.
But
voluptuous too. Stacked, in fact.
Yeah, I don't know. But the organism continues to grow, and it cuts to Hikaru's face with a messed up left eye, and he says, Unuki-sama, I need somebody. Anybody. And then reaches out to the organism, and it seems to possess Hikaru, and then turns back into the red dot that is now Hikaru's right pupil. July, the year 2020, in Kubitachi Village. And it's hot, and Hikaru and Yoshiki share a glass of Gamer Sups. You can visit gamersups.gg and use promo code DJ Montague at checkout to save 10% off of your order, and you can use a waifu cup to share the Gamer Sups with your dead possessed friend Hikaru.
Oh, I mean, you can, but maybe don't.
Whether you're a ghost, a spirit, or a human being, you can save 10% off using the promo code DJ Montague at checkout. All right, anyway, they don't share Gamer Sups, they share a Poppyco and talk about how it sucks the teacher is making them run in this heat. And Yoshiki corrects Hikaru's pronunciation. And then I have a note that says it's been 6 months since Hikaru's death. Yoshiki asks Hikaru that he was missing on the mountain for a whole week and he doesn't remember anything. And Hikaru is like, nope. And Yoshiki says it's been half a year and you still don't remember. And Hikaru is like, man, you're not going to let this go, huh? But Hikaru was like, oh, were you lonely without me? And Yoshiki is like, no.
No. What are you, gay?
No.
I'm not gay.
Yeah, not really.
I don't have gay thoughts. That's literally
well, we're
like
not
the
there
beginning
yet.
of the show.
It gets worse.
No.
Not worse, but it gets more like that.
It's really funny, though.
Hikaru is like, nah, you were probably crying like a baby. It has shots of the hot summer, and Yoshiki's Poppyco is dripping on the ground. And he's like, hey, I got a weird question. And Hikaru is like, what, you want to confess your love to me? And he's like, fuck no. But I've been thinking about this ever since you went missing and came back. The cloud covers the sun, and cicadas stop chirping. And Yoshiki is like, you're not Hikaru, are you? And Hikaru is like, what? And the ants start to eat the melted Poppyco at Yoshiki's feet.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hikaru is stunned and is like, how did you know? I thought I copied him perfectly. And then the organism fucking melts off of Hikaru's face and gets super close to Yoshiki's face. And Hikaru is like, please don't tell anyone. And it's his first time living as a human being. Hikaru says it's been fun going to school and eating ice cream. And even though this body and personality aren't his, he likes Yoshiki a lot. And I don't want to kill you. Yoshiki is just silently freaking out as Hikaru hugs him and thinks to himself that Hikaru is gone and that isn't going to change. But even if this Hikaru is fake, he wants him to stay, and he says that he won't tell anyone. Has a flashback to real Hikaru and Yoshiki, and he asks what he's going to do after high school as they're playing video games. And Hikaru is like, I haven't really thought about it. Probably I'll just take over my grandpa's shiitake mushroom farm. And he asks Yoshiki what he's going to do. And he's like, you know what? I don't know either. Hikaru says Yoshiki is smart and he should ditch this village and go to Tokyo. And he's like, let me guess, you don't want to leave me, tee-hee, wink. And Yoshiki is like, shut the fuck up.
Yoshiki's intense in Greg's headcanon. Like, Yoshiki does not give a fuck, and he's like, fuck you, bitch. I'll fight you too, at all times.
Continuing the flashback, cuts to them walking, and Hikaru says, Yoshiki, even if you get a hot girlfriend in Tokyo, I'm still going to come over and hang out, so you'll never be able to bring her home. And Yoshiki is like, I could never get a girl. And Hikaru is like, man, why are you so pissed off every time we talk about girls? And Hikaru said Yoshiki would find a girl easy, especially if he goes camping. Mm-hmm. Still flashing back, cuts to them at school, and Yoshiki talks to Hikaru in the hall and asks what his plans are for the weekend. And Hikaru says he can't hang out since he's heading to the mountains, and says he can't tell Yoshiki what for because it's a secret. And he does a silly face, and Yoshiki laughs.
I'm so confused. Okay, so here's my confusion with this show so far. I understand that it's supposed to be a little bit obscure. My theory up front, all right, something changed when he went to the mountain.
Yes.
Hikaru didn't really die, okay? And this emotional flip that has happened in him is him being more comfortable with himself. And the people in the village see him as a demon because being gay is demonized so much. And it's exaggerated in the show. We talk about anime being exaggerated by a lot of things. A lot of people have to fight with themselves over their own thought process of becoming who they are or who they want to be. People deal with it all the time because all we are is a bag of fat in a skeleton mech suit. But it's how they're dealing with Hikaru after he's comfortable with himself and a little more open. And then you have later in the episode, you have more fear and the scary elements of it. But I think in general, like what the message is that people just fear the unknown so much.
I think that's an interesting theory. So you're basically saying that in an extreme sense, none of this is actually happening. It's just Yoshiki battling with his own internal demons of being gay.
And also Hikaru.
Okay, interesting.
The parasite that took over Hikaru is him being more comfortable with himself and being gay and being able to make jokes with his friend who he loves. And now coming down the mountain and being like, dude, I'm just a different person now.
Yeah, as we get later on in the episode, I like your interpretation of what the story, how it can be. Mm-hmm. But then I question at the end.
I agree. I also questioned it too.
I don't think that it's far-fetched.
Yeah, but I also have an explanation for that later on.
Okay. Yoshiki wakes up in bed, and all of those scenes were a dream of real Hikaru, and he's struggling to come to grips with Hikaru being dead, and his mom is yelling that breakfast is ready, and Yoshiki thinks that the last expression he saw of Hikaru was his impression of Mr. Hata. Yoshiki struggles to get out of bed, and it has a shot of his cell phone plugged in on the bed next to a blister pack of what I assume is like sleeping aids or medicine of some sort.
Which also, when you are uncomfortable with yourself, depression hits pretty hard. And sleeping is the only release for certain people. It starts to distort reality because you're not getting true sleep. You're not getting REM sleep. And so if he's taking these pills constantly, like melatonin, to constantly go to sleep, he's going to have a distorted nature of reality.
He walks downstairs and there's an old lady that stopped by to give his mom something. And the old lady is like, oh, Yoshiki, why were you up so late? Your lights were on. And he doesn't say anything. So this village is so small that people are just like, I noticed your lights are on, and that must mean you're awake. Mm-hmm. It couldn't have been because you fell asleep with your lights on. Hey.
Yeah.
Yoshiki eats some toasts at the table, and his dad is there reading a book and drinking coffee. And the weather report is on in the background on the TV, and it says, compared to years past, this summer is gonna be a scorcher. His dad asks if Kaoru, his sister, is still asleep. But Yoshiki doesn't even register his dad talked to him, and then his mom yells that Hikaru is here, and Yoshiki says he's coming. Yoshiki puts on his shoes, and his mom says he should cut his bangs, and Hikaru is there, and is like, oh hey, I heard something funny, and Yoshiki is like, no one fucking cares, we're gonna be late, and walks out the door, and Hikaru is like, yeah, don't want Mr. Hata to be mad at us. They walk, and Hikaru is talking about how his mom bought them watermelon. And as Hikaru is going off about watermelon, Yoshiki thinks to himself that he doesn't care what Hikaru is. It's better than not having him there at all. Cuts to some blonde-haired dude ringing the doorbell at some apartment carrying a pink hamster cage, and he says he's Tanaka, and the company sent him. Cuts to the school, and the kids are doing choir, and the kids are all reluctantly singing, and Yoshiki looks at Hikaru, and it looks like Hikaru doesn't understand what's on the page. Cuts back to Tanaka, and he's in the apartment and kicks down a door to a room and is using the hamster to what I assume is detecting some anomaly or something, and there's something coming from the closet. It has a scene where Tanaka is rummaging through the room in the apartment, overlapping with the kids' choir, and Tanaka discovers a weird face thing at the back of the bookshelf that says Mama, and he smiles as he starts smashing it with a crowbar. Cuts back to school, and another kid is like, man, why we gotta do a choir practice? And Yoshiki says it's because they missed last year's school festival, and Hikaru is like, man, I like singing. And Yoshiki is like, you didn't even sing, man. And Hikaru is like, well, I was curious about what the lyrics on the page were. Some of the schoolgirls are like, hey, where you guys going? The next period is study hall, and we're going to watch a movie. And Hikaru is all excited about the movie, and one of the girls has a surprised look while looking at Hikaru. So I think she's looking at him because she's surprised that he's acting differently than what real Hikaru would act like.
So in my high school, like, I remember I was a skater, so literally skateboarding all the time. But for whatever reason, we've talked about this on the show before. For whatever reason, my group of friends had a prejudice against certain music, and they were like, oh, dude, you're gay if you listen to this. And it's like, you have so much peer pressure going on, and you're just like, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, they suck, dude. You only listen to metal if you got a big old penis or whatever. I fucking love Fall Out Boy, dude. I fucking love Fall Out Boy, okay? Pete Wentz rules. What great band. Through peer pressure, I made this rule myself. Listen to Fall Out Boy. But as I grew older and realized how fucking silly it is, like looking at Hikaru just all of a sudden change, people did that in high school. They decided who they were, and they decided to not be afraid of who they were. And it's admirable to see that. Seeing that dynamic, looking at it through that lens, this story is a lot more heartwarming to me than obviously horror story. I do think the whole point of the horror story is the fear of the unknown, and from a heteronormative role and watching the show, people would be like, dude, this is fucking, like, you're weird. Why would you like that? That's fucking weird. You know, like, that is the story behind, like, people being gay, like, back then.
Well, back then, when we were in high school, Marilyn Manson got his ribs removed so he could S his own D.
Dude, that's so crazy that was the biggest gossip in the world.
I don't know. Now that I think about it, that you brought this up, here we go, weird tangent.
I'm ready.
I think it was middle school. And I remember, like, I'm not into music. We've already covered this in the show before. Like, I'm not a big music guy. I don't really have any affinity to music. It doesn't necessarily make me feel a certain way or anything like that. I don't identify with it. I wish I did, but I don't. And I remember that you had the different cliques. You had like the emo clique, you had the rocker clique, you had, I don't know what you call this, but like if you listen to like Korn and stuff, I don't know where you would, goth clique or something, right?
They were new metal.
But I remember that this girl asked me, she was talking about Korn, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, you don't fucking know? And I'm like, I don't. I literally have no idea what you're talking about. And then one of those things where it's just like, everyone knows about Korn's new album, Got the Life, their new single. Oh, it's so good. Like, how do you not know about it? And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I didn't know. Like, do you want to tell me about it? Like, fucking, I don't know anything about it. And I almost felt like alienated a little bit because, you know, I wasn't up on what these kids were talking about with music. I mean, I did feel a little bad. And then eventually I did listen to it. I'm like, oh yeah, Korn's pretty good. I like this.
So it becomes, like you said, cliquish, large. People want to feel like they belong to something.
Yeah, we had the conversation about identity and boba earlier.
Yeah. And I belong to the We Don't Hate Boba over here club, and Greg hates boba, dude. He's like,
no,
Boba's
it's
fucking disgusting. for
I hate what
peasants.
boba stands for. I'm fighting against the fabric of what boba was built on. I'm not fighting against boba itself.
Okay, all right. I think this show already is beautiful to watch. It's so well drawn, and there's so many beautiful cinematography moments, and it's very off-putting, and I love it.
It cuts back to Tanaka on the phone, and he says that thing had nothing to do with the other thing. And he's like, this company sucks, and they've spent hundreds of years searching and can't believe they're still in business. The girl he's talking to on the phone says to stop complaining about the company, and he's like, yeah, whatever. I take my job seriously. And the people that were in the apartment are holding each other crying. And there's a shot of Tanaka with some bruise thing on his neck. And he says, I guess that thing won't be so easy to find. So lots of like mystery here. He's talking about things. He's talking about the company. Like we don't know anything. We're just getting very vague words of what is going on. I assume it's going to be revealed later on of what's happening.
Yeah.
But for now, we're kind of shrouded in mystery.
Also, real quick to like bring it back to what I think the company is rehabilitation centers where they like basically take people that are showing any sort of gay tendencies and then they're like, send them to rehabilitation camp. Show them a bunch of straight people fucking. And then that's what it is.
Oh no, don't take me there. Oh no. I don't want to see that.
Don't show me those big old mommy milkers slapping against that.
Those are gross. Ew, don't show me more.
I hate big butts. And
oh, okay. Well, it cuts to the kids watching the movie, and they're all either sleeping or bored, but Hikaru is there, and he's crying at the movie. And Yoshiki is like, hey man, what the fuck are you doing? We've watched this movie like 5 times. But he says, I know the movie is in my memory, but it's the first time I'm actually seeing it. After school, they get their bikes, and Hikaru is like, where's my key? I don't know what my key is. There's no snare in my headphones. And Yoshiki is like, did you check your bag?
What a fucking reference, Greg. What the fuck, dude? There's no snare in my headphones?
That's what Hikaru said. It was weird, yeah.
No way did you just say that. Dude, Greg, is that how your mind works? Did you let that slip?
No, don't show me those. Oh, no. Like, I don't want to see any of that.
Pull back the curtain a little bit. There's no snare in my headphones. Holy shit. Turn my headphones up.
Funny story about that. I wanted to buy Eminem's first album, but my dad was like, no, that's devil music. You don't want to listen to that shit.
But
and then I bought it, and I was fine. Nothing happened.
I mean, you just exhibited the devil entering your mind, Greg, okay?
Damn.
Turn my headphones up. There's no snare in my headphones.
Damn, it's true. It happened.
God, this is great.
But then Hikaru finds the key, and it was in his classical literature textbook.
This scene as well, real quick, when they start moving around really fast, all of this stuff is so well drawn. And it's only on screen for like a few seconds, maybe a second, some of these. And it's crazy how beautiful this show is.
Yeah, I think right now they are planting the seed. Because right now, like, we don't really know what's going on. Like, high level, it's kind of like, okay, Hikaru's probably dead. He's possessed by some weird fucking ghost spirit organism thing. And to finish off my note real quick, there's shots of kids doing what kids do, and there's a group practicing for band, and like there's just kids walking in the hallway and stuff. And I think they're planting that seed where right now this like looks normal. And I'm hoping they're going to circle back to this at the end of the story, and all of these scenes of like the empty desks or just the kids walking around being normal, they're going to have their grand reveal, and it's going to fucking blow all of our minds. But right now, it just kind of looks like normal day-to-day shit in a school in Japan, I guess. Mm-hmm. The band music plays, and there's a montage of scenes around the school as Yoshiki and Hikaru are walking and riding their bikes home. And then I have a note here that says they focus on some other characters, and they show one of the girl that looked at Hikaru before surprised, and she's like apparently high-Q volleyball master.
Dude, she fucking blasted that thing. One
of the other girls in choir was talking to the teacher. They have the other kid playing baseball, and it cuts to Yoshiki's dad, who is a lumberjack apparently, because he's fucking cutting down some trees with a chainsaw. And then who I assume is Yoshiki's mom, who works at a salon or has her own salon, and who I assume is his sister who's sweeping up the hair after his mom cuts it. So we don't get the names of any of these characters yet. They kind of show this in preparation to blow our minds in the future, I assume. Yoshiki and Hikaru are eating some menchi katsu, which is basically a fried ground meat patty. And Hikaru is like, oh, damn, this is fucking fire. And he said, we used to eat these all the time, right? And Yoshiki is like, yup. And Hikaru says he can recall the memories, but the experiences are new. There's a scene of a cat licking its balls, which is DJ Montague's favorite. And Yoshiki is like, what are you, a ghost or something? And Hikaru is like, no, I wouldn't say a ghost, but I'm some sort of fucking sick-ass monster, if you know what I mean.
They did show the Hunter x Hunter poster when they were like,
I did see that,
on their way to journey home.
No, it's not Hunter x Hunter, it's Master.
Shut up, Greg. Also, what's up with, like, one, the cat, the giant cat, and this girl's knockers? Like, fucking chill, Japan. It's a show. It's Hunter x Hunter, right? Like, calm it down.
Don't show me those. Ew. Oh, no.
I wouldn't want to see boobs ever.
Yeah. Don't show me the tree that was really hot either again. Oh.
I really hope that tree comes back in the weirdest way possible.
I do too. Anyway, the cat comes up to them and Yoshiki is like, oh, Menchi, you got fat, you dumb fat cat. And Hikaru goes to pet him, but the cat freaks out and runs. Yoshiki is like, oh, and then asks Hikaru if he wants to go anywhere else in town. And Hikaru is like, Yoshiki, you're too nice to me. And he's like, no, I'm just too easy on people, myself included. Cuts to a lady going to buy taiyaki. And as Hikaru and Yoshiki ride by, she has a scared look on her face.
She's like, is that dude gay? We should fuck him up.
Take him to the institute. Yeah. Show him some boobs. A dragonfly lands on Hikaru's bike handles, and he's like, oh shit, dragonfly. And Yoshiki says, it's a red one. And summer and fall have different varieties. And he doesn't feel like explaining it right now to him, but they're the same dragonfly, but different. Foreshadowing?
Foreskinning.
Yoshiki starts to walk and thinks this thing is Hikaru, but isn't Hikaru. And he's like, this is fucked, and I'm just going along with it. Hikaru is like, hey, let me come over later. I want to read Master. And Yoshiki is like, yeah, that's fine. But I'm also missing Volume 3. And Hikaru is like, yeah, I still don't know why you have 11 copies of Volume 1.
I don't understand that either. Yeah, at all. Yeah.
Maybe like he has that grandparent that's like, hey, what is my grandson like?
Yeah.
And then, you know, his parents are like, well, he likes Master. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll get him something from there. And they just keep buying him
the first issue, yeah. They're like, he likes Master. Well, here's a book.
They walk past an old lady and she freaks out. And she's like, why has Nonuki come down from the mountain? And Hikaru calls her crazy lady. And Yoshiki is like, yeah, don't get involved with this shit. It weirds me out. And she runs inside her house yelling to stay away. And Yoshiki is like, let's go. But then Hikaru's eyes start glowing red. They walk back and Yoshiki is like, so Hikaru is really dead, right? And Hikaru is like, yeah, his body is still alive, but he's definitely dead. And Yoshiki is like, you kill him? And he's like, no, when I found him, he was already at death's door, and tells Yoshiki what he remembers. He says he was wandering through the forest for a really long time and found Hikaru on the verge of death. And the next thing he knew, he ended up like this. They get to Yoshiki's house, and Hikaru is like, see you tomorrow. But Yoshiki asks if he likes him. And he's like, yeah, I like you a lot. And Yoshiki thinks that real Hikaru never said that before. Yoshiki tears up and tells fake Hikaru to never leave him again. Yoshiki is lying in his bed at home and can overhear his mom saying that his sister stayed home from school again, and his dad is like, if you're good with it, I'm good with it. And then there's flashes of the organism, and the blister pack of medicine by Yoshiki is now halfway gone. Cuts to the crazy lady's house, and a monster figure is knocking at her door, and she's yelling to stay away, and it's saying, Miss Matsuda, I have a delivery. And she's like, hell no, as it shows a scene of Yoshiki in the fetal position in his bed. And there are flashes of dead kid news stories. And then Hikaru's voice is behind Crazy Lady in her house and is like, I'm already inside.
It's like, the door was open, lady. I was just fucking with you. I just wanted to scare the shit out of you.
Yup, that's what he did.
He fucking did.
Credits roll, and the next scene is the police at Crazy Lady's house, and she's dead. And then it cuts to some old dudes, and they're like, damn, I'm next. Nonuki is coming. And then cuts to some other dudes saying, Indo's ritual failed. What do we do? And then it cuts to Tanaka, and he's on the phone and says he'll be there in the morning, and looking at info on Kubitachi Village, and says they don't know what they have on their hands. He did this all while listening to AKB48, by the way.
Those are some words. I recognize them. What is AKB48?
They were like that Japanese pop idol girl group.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool for him.
But yeah, that's episode 1.
I think this show is cool. I just think the imagery is really pretty, and I think that the thriller portion of it, they're trying to like maintain interest, obviously, by giving away literally nothing in the beginning episode, other than someone's gonna make out.
I said it before, it does remind me of like Paranoia Agent, where you just kind of have these kind of crazy things happening. You don't know why. I even think in the first episode of Paranoia Agent, it was kind of the same thing. The kid with the crooked bat, like, fucking hits someone in the head and they're dead. Kind of similar to this, to like the old lady goes crazy and now she's dead. So you have all of this information come in on episode 1.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what's happening. Mm-hmm. And as I'm hoping as they go through the series, it's going to uncover a little bit more and we'll figure out why the things are happening the way that they are. And I do hope they maintain this whole thriller thing that they have going on. And I guess my biggest fear is that the storytelling falls flat and it'll just kind of fizzle and suck. But I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, and so far it looks pretty interesting. I'm cool with it. This wasn't what I was expecting at all of what you and I had talked about. That's like one thing for this show that I think it really has going for it so far. It's telling a weird story of potentially some fucking horrible monster. And now this dude, Yoshiki's like, I'm going to make out with that monster.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.